When Milena looked down at her newborn son, she didn't see shame or betrayal. She saw a miracle. The only betrayal in the room was the empty chair where the father was supposed to be. But this isn't a sob story. This is a reckoning. Milena Brando had always done everything by the book. She was a registered nurse, deeply committed to her work, and respected by her community in Brazil. When she found out she was pregnant, it was supposed to be one of the happiest moments of her life. But sometimes, the people you trust most will turn their backs on you the moment you need them most. At 6 months pregnant, Milena returned to her hometown to be closer to her support system. Family, friends, and the familiarity of home. What she didn't expect was the beginning of a nightmare. The moment she arrived, her boyfriend, let's call him Eduardo, began pulling away. Cold, distant, paranoid. The joy he once showed about the baby turned into quiet contempt. Then came the accusation, "That child isn't mine." Just like that, with no warning, no conversation, Eduardo accused Milena of cheating. No evidence, no reason, just fear and ego. He demanded a DNA test before he'd even consider taking responsibility. Milena was stunned, not just because of the accusation, but because she realized he was more worried about his pride than being a father. As the weeks passed, the gossip machine revved into overdrive. Small towns have big mouths. People whispered behind her back at the grocery store, at church, even at the hospital where she worked. She tricked him. That baby's not his. She's just looking for someone to raise her mistake. Milena held her head high, but inside, she was breaking. She delivered her son, Otto, alone in a hospital room that felt emptier than it should have. Eduardo didn't show, not even a text, no flowers, no name on the birth certificate, just Milena and Otto, against the world. She breastfed through tears, swaddled her baby while swallowing shame, and smiled through the pain because that's what strong women do. But inside, she knew something had to change, not just for her, but for her son. So she made a decision, one that would flip the script on everyone. If Eduardo wanted a DNA test, he'd get one. But it wouldn't be some cold legal letter in a manila envelope. No, Milena had something bigger in mind. She was done being the villain in everyone else's story. Fast forward a few months later. Balloons were tied, snacks arranged, family and friends gathered under a large banner that read, "Otto's Paternity Reveal Party." Yes, you heard that right. A paternity. Reveal. Party. Milena stood there, holding her son proudly in one arm and in the other. The DNA results. She took the mic and addressed the crowd. "Some of you doubted me. Some of you whispered behind my back. Some of you left me to raise this beautiful boy alone, based on lies and fear. Today, that ends." She opened the envelope, held it high, and read aloud. 99.9% match. Eduardo is the biological father of Otto. The crowd was silent. A few gasped. A few had the decency to look ashamed. Milena didn't flinch. She had her truth. And now the world did too. Let's pause for a second. Because this story isn't just about proving paternity. It's about what happens when people weaponize doubt. When men abandon their responsibilities and communities shame women without question. Milena's story is painfully common. And that's what makes it powerful. Because she turned her pain into purpose, and her silence into a microphone. After the party, the story spread across social media like wildfire. Support poured in from all over Brazil and beyond. Mothers, nurses, single parents, people who had been through similar situations, wrote to her, thanking her for standing up. Eduardo? He eventually tried to come around. Too little, too late. Milena wasn't bitter, but she was no longer begging for anyone's help. She told him, "You weren't there when it mattered. You don't get to walk back in now just because the truth came out. Fatherhood isn't biology, it's presence." And that was that. Otto is now a thriving, healthy little boy. Milena still works as a nurse, and now she's also become an advocate for maternal rights and support networks for single moms. Because truth is, women like Milena are everywhere. They just don't always have a platform to be heard. This story could have ended with a broken woman and an abandoned baby. Instead, it ended with a mother who rewrote the narrative and dared to read it out loud. If you've ever been doubted, dismissed, or degraded for telling your truth, let Milena's story remind you. You don't need anyone's permission to stand tall. And when the world tries to write you off, hand them a rewrite, signed, sealed, and delivered. If this story moved you even half as much as it moved us, hit that like button, subscribe for more true stories of resilience, and drop a comment below. What would you do if you were in Milena's shoes? Until next time, stay strong, stay kind, and never let anyone else tell your story for you.